Howdy, and welcome back to the Ineligibles podcast. My name is Will Stone at Will Stone CFB. This is the Ineligibles podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. Folks, I apologize for the long delay. Maybe it's time I got back on the mic because I think the last one I did was after LSU, and we haven't quite looked like the same football team since then. But I know football is hot on the mind right now. It's first ever playoff game at Kyle Field in just a couple of days. We're all excited, but before we get to that, I've got a couple things to get out of the way. As I sit here recording this, just moments after Aggie Volleyball swept Pitt, who was a number one seed in the semifinals to advance to the national championship game on Sunday. Just outstanding stuff by the by Coach Jamie Morrison and the A&M volleyball team. They have been a revelation, a great regular season. They beat Texas in the regular season. This past Sunday, they knocked off undefeated Nebraska, who was a one seed, who had not lost in Lincoln since 2022. In a crazy match, a crazy set. If you saw that, and yeah, it's just it's fun. I watched the whole thing tonight. It was awesome. They're super fun to watch. So on Sunday, I know there's football on, but if you're an Aggie, I would take the time to watch one of your teams compete for a national championship because it's pretty cool. But yeah, I think the whole squad. I think Lednicki. I think Kosopala. I think Stowers. The whole Stowers family is just full of athletes with between Eli and Kendall, but and both Aggies, in some form or fashion. So huge shout out to the ladies for getting it done tonight in quite impressive fashion. It's awesome. But second thing, if you follow me on Twitter, if you know me personally, and we've spoken in the last week, you are aware that I made an announcement on social media. I teased a little bit, I think, back at the beginning of the year, and it's a big contributor to me not being as locked in with the podcast this season, which I think you'll understand and you'll forgive me once I tell you what it is. But what I announced is that I am building a fantasy football app for college fantasy football. Also, along with that, it will support obviously like your typical NFL leagues. It'll support Devy leagues where you have an NFL dynasty and you also have a Devy draft where you draft college players. They go straight to your team when they get to the NFL, and also a style of league that I'm excited to play because I haven't played it yet. It's popular out there, but it's called Campus to Canton, or C to C as it's referred to. This is if you're a real fantasy football like hardcore fantasy player, college and NFL, like this is the type of league for you. It's simultaneously running. It's two leagues in one. It's an NFL fantasy league. It's a college fantasy league combined into one dynasty, and you keep the college players once they get to the NFL. So with Devy, you're just drafting the players. They're not getting you any points. They're just assets for when they get to the NFL and they go straight to your NFL roster. With C to C, it is a whole different thing. It is two like you accumulate scoring for NFL and for your college league, and yeah, like it's the ultimate dream for a fantasy player who is into the NFL as well as college. So I'm pumped about it. It's gotten so much love and so much traction on Twitter already. We've got 340 signups, which is amazing. I cannot thank you guys enough if you signed up, if you told a friend or any of that. I'm thrilled to death. So it's gonna be big. It's a big push for me going into next year. Probably gonna try to launch in March of next year. So, and honestly, I'll probably split off a separate channel for those kinds of podcasts because I definitely want to have some content and some media around that as we launch it. Also, the name is BlueChip. I didn't even say that, but I'm building an app called BlueChip. It is a fantasy football app for college and NFL, all kinds of cool leagues. It's going to be great. So you can check it out at playbluechip.com. Come join our Discord. We're in there chopping it up about all the cool stuff that we want to put on the platform and build the best one that we can. So without further ado, you're fighting Texas Aggies. They are 11-1. They are the number 7 seed in the 2025 college football playoff. I could say there's a lot of ground to cover. I'm not going to cover it because it's months worth of things that have happened. The comeback against South Carolina, the game against Texas, the seeding, the you know who's in, who's out. Miami in over Notre Dame, A&M at 7, which I think they should have been above Ole Miss. I plan on doing a deeper dive, and there's obviously there's other outlets out there that do this, but and I may have some of them on here, but the people that are trying to determine like why is this so effed up and what can we do to fix it, because everybody loves college football, nobody loves the committee, it's all so incredibly stupid, and the fix shouldn't be that hard. So whatever we have to do, we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna get to a you know a life that is where we still have college football and it's great to watch, and there's not all this dumb BS with the playoffs and who's in, who's out, all that kind of crap. So that's a talk for the off season though. But for this weekend, it is the Miami Hurricanes that are coming to Kyle Field. It's not Alabama. It's not Notre Dame. It is the 10-2 Hurricanes, led by Carson Beck and Ruben Bain and Malachi Toney. This is a big deal. Before we get into the matchup, I think we need to put out there and talk about what this means for the A&M program. And I said back in August, just get into the field, just get to the playoff. And if you can do that with, I think our boosters are always going to have funds to support the program, but you saw how it changed when, after 2012, when Johnny wins the Heisman, when you beat OU in the Cotton Bowl, you go 11-2. Had there been a playoff, that would have been a freaking, super interesting field to see that play out with that team, as hot as they were. And you saw the money pour in. You saw the stadium renovation go from, we might cut down on seats. No, we're going to add 20,000 seats, 25,000 seats, and we're going to fill it every single Saturday. That's what you saw. You saw money pour into the program. You saw, hell, Jimbo Fisher had one really good year in 2020, COVID year, but still had a good year. Won 9 games, only lost to the champion Alabama. Not even not the extension that he got, which obviously that's a huge thing, but the way that recruiting picked up and the investment picked up, I'm trying to think if that was around the time of the Century Fund or whatever it was that built the new indoor, football facility. But what I'm trying to say is that I think we're already there. I think and we'll see how the transfer stuff plays out. There's already some pretty big names in the portal. Others are being, enticed to enter the portal. Talks with agents, yada yada. You've seen a handful, or you've probably seen one that's rumored that A&M has a big offer. I'm not here to repeat that or break any news, but I wouldn't doubt it. I would think that they're probably, I think they are going to invest, and they're losing a lot, but they're not losing everybody. And the people they'll lose it's going to free up funds for next year's roster. And the recruiting class, those guys all got signed. I'll do a separate show, maybe in January, or hopefully, late January after we're done playing, and kind of go over that. But the future is super bright, and but I don't want to spend like another second talking about next year because I see Aggies doing that now. They're like, oh well, next year we're losing this guy and that guy. We're not going to be as good, and everything's bad, and we suck, and like the whole like just the mood of this fan base is it's still in a peculiar spot. Even coming in, we're like, hey, like I was trying to preach like, hey, like, Elko's first year was fine. Like it was a good, solid year. Not what we wanted, but it was a good year to build on. Give the guy some time, let him get, his guys like that he picked, to be on the roster, his recruits, all that good stuff. Let him, establish the culture for a couple of years, and then we'll come back and revisit, you know, people trying to run him off after 1 year. After Notre Dame, after his first game, everyone's like, "Oh, this guy sucks." I tried to tell you, he ain't got it. We're gonna fire him in 3 years, and we'll be right back at square one and get anywhere. And if that's your mindset, you are a loser, and and I can't fix that about you. And nothing we can do short of winning a national championship will fix that for you. So, um, what I will say is, the step has already been taken. And I don't want to hear easy schedule this or opponent winning percentage that. You play who you play. We played Notre Dame, who was a playoff caliber football team, and 8 SEC games, and we went 11-1. We've had easier schedules before where we went 8-4. So I don't want to hear that. Like this, you know, and on the flip side, I'm with you about if you don't win this game on Saturday, it's disappointing, and it will put some sort of a damper on the whole thing. Like you don't want to end like that. And maybe it's just the recency because we're in it right now, but um, like obviously it's going to sting to come all this way and have this great year and then not make it out of out of the first round in your own stadium. And like I'm with you on that. Like that's not good enough. You have to win this game. Now after that, Ohio State and the Cotton Bowl, different animal. If like that's a game I would not go into expecting to come out with a win. But I'll tell you what, I still want to play it. I want to be in that position because it's going to be fun. And I've said for years how badly I want to see A&M play like an Ohio State or an Oregon or someone like that. Like someone that we don't play but is also of a very high caliber. And obviously Ohio State is the standard in the sport right now. Um, so I'm with you. Like I think it's okay to feel that way, to say, hey, this is good. This has been a good year, and things are moving in the right direction, and the talent level is only going to rise. Like I want to make sure we all understand that. Like as good as this team has been and is, uh, and all the you know the good players that are on this team, it's not anywhere close to the apex of the talent level that it's going to be under Mike Elko. And I know we hate hearing this because we're impatient and we've heard it for so long, but there's. I'm just telling you to wait 2 years, 3 years until when the 26 and 27 classes are like fully into the program. I'm telling you, like 27, watch out. Unless we just totally run out of money and lose every game next year, we may challenge for the number one class. And The secondary class that they're putting together is already phenomenal. The receiver position, really every position has been addressed pretty well through recruiting, and the portal obviously will play a big factor once we get to that. But I'm just saying, like, it's going the right way. But if we lose Saturday, you should be disappointed because I'll be disappointed, and I think that's fair. Just it's hey, that's all I'm asking. Just win a game at home in the playoffs. Everyone's gonna be watching this game. The other games are disasters. Like Ole Miss has already beaten Tulane by 40 points earlier in the year. What Oregon's gonna do to James Madison should be rated R. Like it's going to be ugly. And then Bama and OU's on is tomorrow night on Friday. So there's NFL games on later in the day, but you've got College Game Day in College Station for this one. It's a great matchup. Two really really good football teams. I've said this before. Like it's not losing that hurts me the most. What really gets me is losing on a big stage. And when everyone tunes in and you lay an egg, that's what pisses me off the most. Like Notre Dame last year, what would have been South Carolina this year when you had 10 wins in a row or whatever it was, you extended Elko that morning and then you get down 30-3, but you won that one. So you avoided that, but it's a huge stage and that place is going to be rocking. I think real quick, I want to get into JT's question, and props to JT, man. Like you know, he's if anyone's gonna make sure that I'm on here recording a podcast, it's gonna be JT. If and I'm sorry I've missed like so many weeks in a row now with things being busy, but he was hitting me up tonight. He's like, hey, like 8 o'clock, it's time. Like we need you out there. So big shout to him. But before getting into the game, would love your thoughts on the coordinator hires. Proud of this program for putting coordinators in spots to succeed and grow. Holloman and Lyle, your turn. So yeah, I think on defense, it's there's no real change. And I think if you talk to people that or listen to people that know the ins and outs of the program, what's going on the inside, Jay Bateman, our defensive coordinator in title, who is leaving. I can't remember where he's going now to Kentucky. Yeah, Kentucky. He didn't call the defense. He called the defense last year. He didn't call it this year. This year the defense was called by Mike Elko, and he brought in his protege, who was DC at James Madison in 2024, Lyle Hemphill. They've kind of been taking the brunt of the responsibility, I believe. So that transition from Bateman to Hemphill, there won't be a drop off in terms of any kind of defensive scheme or play calling or any of that. And then I think they made a tremendous hire already with the linebacker coach getting is it Travis Williams? I want to make sure I get his name right, but he was the Arkansas defensive coordinator. So he was at Arkansas. He was at Auburn. Outstanding recruiter. And what sounded like a lot of folks were trying to get in on him, and A&M was the ones that finally got him. So yeah, I think that's a great hire. And then I've definitely got an eye on Jordan Peterson, safeties coach. He looks likely, or I'm not reporting this, but looks like he could follow Colin Klein to Kansas State and be the defensive coordinator there. Which, hey, props to him. He's from Lexington. He played at A&M. Got a chance to come back here and coach. He's done a great job, and to get to call plays at the Power 4 level, that's a blessing. So props to him. Offensively, I'm going to trust Elko because you know he's shown to be pretty smart with his coaching hires. Even on defense when things didn't go the way he wanted his first year, he changed immediately, and and so like he knows he's not going to be complacent. Nothing about Elko, tells me he's going to be complacent or be cheap. If he thought he could go out and get someone better than Wiggins, then I think he would have. But it's a risk. I mean, when you have a guy, I'm I keep assuming that you guys know what I'm talking about, which you probably already do. But we've announced that they are promoting Wiggins, the receivers coach, to offensive coordinator, with Colin Klein leaving for Kansas State. I think Klein has been fantastic at A&M. Not perfect, nobody is, but he's been, after 6 years of Jimbo's offense, this was, a breath of fresh air this year, having the weapons, having the versatility and the creativity on offense. It's my understanding that they want to run the same kind of system with, like under Wiggins. It's not going to be some drastic shift in philosophy. What I am watching very closely, I know a lot of you are, is who's the quarterback coach, because it was Klein. Klein will now be leaving, and OC will now be the receivers coach. So you got to backfill that spot and say, hey, it would be my preference to go get someone, bring in an outsider who is not currently on staff, who has a strong track record of quarterback development. That would be my personal wish. I think I hit them all. So yeah, and I'm sure you can't keep coaches forever. There's going to be movement, but I think already with the hire of Travis Williams for linebackers, that's a great hire. I would trust our coach and our admin to go out and get the right guys. So this is another thing. What winning 11 games does, and it doesn't matter what people on Twitter say about your record, because everyone's going to say, oh, well, they didn't play anybody and yada yada and this, that, and the other. People that matter don't give a shit about that. You are going to be more attractive to coaches, to players, to transfer portal players, recruits, all that stuff. Like showing you can, hey, like we won 11 games, we won a playoff game, we got to the semis, quarter, whatever else. Instead of saying, oh well, we had an easy schedule, we went 8-4, but we're gonna get them next year. Now you have a lot of ammo to sell your program and where you're going, and like it sounds like they beat out a lot of other schools for Travis Williams. Can they do the same? Can they compete? At an even higher level in the transfer portal? I think so, and we're gonna find that out before too long. But to get into the matchup here, why is everyone picking Miami? That comes from my father-in-law, Brian Graham. Here's what I think, and I think it's as simple as I think it's talent level. I think the talent Miami has matches ours. You know, it's tough to. I think they probably have a slight edge in terms of just raw overall talent. But I think it's that like they're like the two teams are similar. But it's also the trends. Like A&M ended the year with a getting down by an unspeakable margin, even though they came back and won, and then losing to Texas, and that was their first loss. But of your last three games, you had two halves in there where you played pitifully, and people remember that because it's on their minds. It's the last they saw of you. The last they saw of Miami was 38-7 over Pitt, who was ranked at the time, who finished 8-4, but it's a ranked win, so you know how that goes. So that's why. So their losses came earlier, and their last, like they lost on November 1st to SMU. Then they reeled off some wins. The Louisville game was basically 100 years ago in people's minds, and nobody recalls that. And it was like, oh, well, Beck threw all those picks, and that's why they lost. Well, yeah, I mean, if Beck throws picks against A&M, they're gonna lose that game too. So, but I get, like, I'm not mad at people for picking them. I get it. Um, just going off, like, if you don't follow every team or these two teams, you know, like we do, or following A&M like we do, you think, oh, well, they're the same talent level. Maybe edge to Miami. Maybe you like Carson Beck better. Maybe it's the trends of where they're each heading. But here's my thing: like, I don't know what we're gonna see because it's this this layoff, this off period has been so long, and it's good for the players from a health standpoint, but it's anxiety inducing on the fans because we don't know what we're gonna see. Like, you know, it's that game at LSU has been a long time ago now, and that's the team we need to see. The team that punted one time, that was just shredding them on offense by through the air and on the ground. That was just destroying the offensive line and sacking the quarterback 7 times. Um, that's what we need to see. We need to see Marcel that takes what the defense is giving him, that uses his legs when he can. Um, you know, I think you know, I don't know what the injury against Texas, like how big of a factor that was the rest of that game. I'm sure he got some, decent meds, but that's a turf field as well, which don't get me started on turf, but um, Kyle Field's all grass, baby. So it should be, a lot of things play into it well for A&M here. Like, just getting it at home is a absolutely, like, you can't even state how big that is, how big of a deal that is. That is huge, huge to have 108,000 likely rowdy A&M fans in the first ever playoff game at Kyle Field. Like, it's going to be a sick environment, and that means that it won't be our offensive line that has false start problems like they've shown to have on the road. It's going to be, our defense that has a rowdy crowd behind them when it's third down. I've got some metrics I want to go through. I think I know how to share stuff on here, so I can show it to y'all and not just talk about it. But one thing that I will point out is on A&M's side of the bracket, which, when you lay it all out, we really got hosed by not getting the 6 because, man, on the talent of the 6 teams on our side beats the crap out of the talent on the other side. Like, the other side has James Madison and Tulane and Tech and Indiana. Those are good teams. Don't get me wrong, great teams even, but the overall talent level of Miami, Ohio State, and Georgia is a little bit more difficult than those other teams that I just talked about. So Ole Miss is in there too. Not a 50% blue chip ratio team. So who's at like 90%? Ohio State, Georgia. I think Miami's close. Um, yeah. And not to make excuse, I'm just saying, like, the road is very, like, to win the whole thing, which I would not expect A&M to do. Maybe they will and surprise us all, but I'm not calling for that to happen. But the road to get there is very, very tough. But where this defense shines is against immobile quarterbacks, pocket passers. They struggle against, when Arch Manning uses his legs, when Taylon Green, who's a freak athlete, is out there doing his thing. They dominate pocket passers. They've dominated Garrett Nussmeier 2 years in a row. Even when they had a good offensive line, like, they still got after him and made his life hell. So that's one thing where, that's going to allow Mike Elko to play, probably just play press man, just straight up press man, and not to worry about playing zone, because there's not a running threat at quarterback for at least the first 2 games if you get that far. Carson Beck not mobile. Julian Sand, not mobile. Now Georgia Gunner Stockton, he can run. He's a bit of an athlete, but man, those first two, I mean, and we're just talking about Miami right now. We'll worry about Ohio State if that time comes, but that's the one thing on the handful of advantages. I think the home crowd. I think playing a against a pocket passer, it makes a big difference for this defense because we don't play zone well at all. And when when you play a quarterback who's athletic, like some of the ones we've played, you got to run a little bit of zone or have some kind of spy. And like we've shown that like sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not so great, and we can get picked apart a little bit. So, but press man, like we can do that, and especially if you're able to get pressure on, like if you get them in third and long, I feel very very good about getting off the field. Number three is maybe the biggest disadvantage or the biggest advantage in this game, biggest mismatch, I'll say, is at the head coaching spot. Now, look, like, I'm not trying to sit here and say that Mike Elko is the next Nick Saban or Bill Belichick or the greatest thing to ever coach football. I will say the opposite about Mario Cristobal. I think he is a terrible manager of a football game as a head coach. If they weren't as talented as they are, if they were just a step, like just one tier below what they currently are talent wise, they'd be a 7-5, 6-6 football team because he's that much of a bonehead. If you recall against Georgia Tech, maybe 2 years ago, all they had to do is kneel the football. Tech's out of timeouts. If you do the math, if you hire an analyst to do the math for you, they would tell you, hey, we can kneel it out and we can win the game, and the game's over right now. But he didn't do that. He handed the ball off. They fumbled it. Georgia Tech got the ball, scored a touchdown. They lost the game. So, time and time again, Mario Cristobal has shown you, hey, I am not a very good game day coach, and I don't plan on becoming one. So, it may not matter that they may come in here and just score a million points, and we can't do anything on offense. But if this gets into be a tight game, I trust the guy on the home sideline a lot more than the guy on the other sideline. I do think the coordinators are pretty solid for Miami, though. In addition, if you've watched them at all, you know how good they are up front on both sides. Offensive line is tremendous. They're huge. The right tackle, I believe, Maui Noah, he's a top 15 or so pick in the upcoming draft. The other guys are just massive. I mean, the left tackle Bell is just a mountain of a man. The interior guys are all big and nasty. I will say that they're not the quickest, which that's you know what we can't let happen is just let them lean on us. And I've actually back months ago when they were still undefeated, I was trying to think of like, hey, who do I not want to see in the playoffs? I didn't want to see Notre Dame again just because they're running backs and that kind of thing. But I had Miami fairly high because of how good they are in the trenches on both sides, but especially the offensive line. Like we can't do what we've done against against Texas, against Notre Dame, against Arkansas, where we just are completely just out of our gap and give up a 50-yard run because Miami doesn't do that well. Like as big and physical as they are, they're not that efficient at running the football, and they've got good backs, so it's kind of it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'll go ahead and see if I can share this, if I can figure this out. Just do the entire screen. Can we do that? All right. If someone can confirm, well, I don't know how you're going to do that because I only got one screen, but Let me minimize this. This looks like it's going to work. All right, cool. Um, all right, so here's Miami. This is GameOnPaper.com. I use this website a lot just to see, I don't want to see yards or any of that kind of crap about teams. I want to see what their actual metrics are. I've never seen a team that the offense and defensive profile were basically the same thing. I mean, these are the same graph with just like the only the only one that's even slightly different is the opportunity percentage, which is I think is drives that get into the 40 instead of the red zone. They do the 40-yard line, but everything else is the exact same. I mean, like they're actually worse. You know, I'm going to show you A&M's here in a second. You think people like to say how bad our defense is at times. What A&M does poorly is the explosive plays. Out of 20 plays, on 18 of them, like we are locked down. The other two may combine for 100 yards, and that's what you can't let happen in a game like this when the margins are this slim. Like you give up one big play, that's fine. You give up 4, 5, 6, like you're going to lose this football game. So, but good news for A&M. Miami's offense, rush explosiveness, bad. 7th percentile. Explosiveness in general is 20th percentile. They're decent at pass explosion, I will say that, but our issue is really more against the run and less so against the pass. This is shocking to me that they're as talented as they are on offense, but they give up. I mean, they're the worst team in the country at explosive runs. That's insane to me that defensive line and those linebackers are that good, but they give up a ton of explosive runs. So, and passes too. I mean, like the passing is not as bad, but overall, just they struggle with giving up explosive plays. Now, everything else, like on the whole, they're very stout, like very solid defense. Here we'll talk about, and even these aren't as high as you might think. Like, it's shocking to me that they're better against the pass than the run, and that their run numbers are this low. But success rate, they're 18th. Efficiency, like these are all like really, really good. But against the run, like 70s with those guys on defense, like, and that's the thing. Like the success rate is, it's okay, but man, when you add in the explosives, like it's not pretty. So we need a Ruben or a Moss or a Jameer, like someone, Marcel, to hit some explosives in the run game because they are decent against the pass. Now I will say our thing is explosive passing. That's kind of what we do. So it's a little bit of strength on strength here, but I think we can scheme up some plays for these receivers. I think Mario Craver being back, fully healthy, is a big deal. Big deal. On their offense, like this is maybe the most shocking thing with, their running backs are good. Like Mark Fletcher, Jamar Brown, Jordan Lyle, like these are good backs. Especially Fletcher and Brown are big, like physical running backs, like very talented. Like Fletcher will be an NFL running back one day. How are you 79th in success rate on running the football, and you're in the hundreds in efficiency? Like that's nuts to me. So like this gives me a lot of hope and confidence that if like honestly all you have to do is just is win first and second down and don't give up the big plays on those downs. If you get them in 3rd and long, you can do the exotic looks on your blitzes and put pressure on Beck. I think our back end can run with their receivers pretty well. But it's, you can't let them, like, they are not an efficient running team. This is poor. We can't do what we did against Texas and say, oh, like, you can't run the football? Well, You can't against us. We're gonna let you run it. So, yeah, don't do that. Um, but yeah, let me switch back to this. Tree looks like a mushroom. Just for comparison, I'll show you ours. Now, our defensive profile looks almost identical to theirs. Like, look at theirs, or look at ours. Look at theirs. They're a little bit better on early downs than we are. Late down, we're elite on third and fourth down. We're 99 percentile. And same for distance on third downs. Explosive, same as them. Same as them. Um, Explosive rushing, explosive passing, or like explosive, total passing is it's actually not bad. Um, you've really only seen it, a couple of times. I think South Carolina had the two really big ones. Um, I know that LSU had a couple, um, but like Missouri had one. Notre Dame had like they had a decent amount because they threw to the running backs too. Um, and probably Arkansas, but like everyone else, like I mean, there hasn't been any like much explosive passing plays allowed. So um, that's got to continue. Obviously, if you take out explosive plays, we are very high in efficiency, but it's just the big runs. That's all it is. Like if you can, uh, and we just talked about how they don't hit explosive runs. Like they just don't do that very often. So like you cannot. That's the one. My biggest key to the game. Do not give up explosive runs to this Miami team because a they don't do it, and if they do, like you will lose this game if you give up a bunch of big runs. Like that's like the game's over. Bye bye. From a personnel standpoint, let me get out of this. Stop sharing. There we go. I'm gonna take a short break and drink some of this tea. I've been talking for a while. Oh, my show. There we go. Comment from my brother Blake. I don't disagree entirely. Um, the game is going to come down to Marcel. He did not play great against Texas. Run game and defense should show up. Hope and pray it doesn't come down to a field goal because I have more faith in a white Christmas than I do an Aggie kicker. I said this to someone recently, but I'll say it here. Um, I like you'll never hear me say that any player sucks. At least any A&M player. Um, I may say it about an opposing player, but even then, I try to not say, "Oh, like he sucks, like he can't play," um, unless I really truly believe it. My exception is kickers. If you can't kick and you're on my team, like dude, like you suck. Like Randy Bond sucks. Zirkle sucks. Like they they just do not have it, and that is the single biggest weakness of this whole football team is the kicking game. I'm sorry, all due respect, but like you're a kicker, dude, and you know, I'd take Seth Small in a heartbeat over any of these guys. So that's got to get fixed. But um, anyway, yeah, I mean, like I don't know if the run game's going to be there. I hope it does. I hope it's there, but I don't. Without Moss fully healthy, which obviously he's not full health, or he wouldn't be questionable still on the report. Or maybe this is just a 4D chess game by Mike Elko saying, "Oh, yeah, like I don't know, like he may not play, but then he's been fine the whole time." Like I don't think it's that. I think it's more of maybe he gets 5-10 carries. Um, how much do kickers go for? I don't care what it is. I'll pay it. Like you can have a bad kicker and expect to win tight games. Um, but but yeah, like with the thing with Moss is it's so obvious the difference he makes. You know, when he had that run against Florida for a touchdown where he, stiff armed the safety, I was like, man, like there he is, like he's back. And when he's at full strength, this offense becomes incredibly difficult to defend. No disrespect to Ruben, and I think EJ needs to get more carries. But we all saw it against Tech. Like Ruben needs to stay on his feet. Against Missouri, like Missouri has a good defense, really good defense. He had two 50-plus yard runs. That is great. Can you do it this weekend? Can you do it on your home field and, on a not turf field? Do we need longer spikes in the cleats? Because you can't play in a tight game and have your offensive line block it up right and you fall down. Like that just can't happen again. Happened once, you lost the game. Can't do it again. So I would like to see, Moss get 5-10 carries. You know, I would put EJ in there more. I'd put Jamarian in there more. I would throw it to the backs more. I think you will see, you know, like this is it. Like as much as we wanted to win the Texas game, that wasn't win or go home. This is win or go home. And, you know, I think health be damned. You got to turn Marcel loose and let him run. And, the weather is crystal clear. It's going to be a sunny, beautiful day in College Station. There is no weather aspect. There is no wet field, no nothing. Just cut him loose. Hey, if a first down's there, take it. If a check down's there for a first down, take it. You have to be more efficient with the football and not look for a big play the way that we did the last time we played. So, personnel. So, we talk about the offensive line for them. Defensive line, obviously, very, very talented. Ruben Bain, you know, he's going to get the short arms, knock that Howell will get, but they're two total opposite players. Cassius Howell and Ruben Bain. Bain's a big guy. Reminds me a lot of DeMarvin Leal. He's probably a touch quicker than Marv. Like he's a freak, man. Like he, is an elite, like college level player. Will he play inside at the next level? That's what some people think. He'd probably be just fine at that if he does. But either way, like he's a problem. On the other side, Akeem Messidor, he's a problem. Those ends are good. Their tackles are big dudes. The linebacker, Torre, that dude can freaking hit. Keontae Scott can hit at safety. It's a talented defense, man. Like they're good. But like I think if you get the run game, if you get any kind of run game going, like you're going to cook on offense. Like that makes play action a much bigger factor. I said it earlier, but man, like there's a noticeable difference between first half of the year Mario Craver and second half of the year Mario Craver because, the guy that played against Notre Dame, like we hadn't seen him in a while, and it was injury, and that's been widely discussed, like openly discussed. He sat out against Samford. I think he had to come out of the game against South Carolina. He's back at full strength. Casey was, I think he kind of had a hamstring, was a little bit gimpy sometimes. He's good to go. EJ Rubin, Marcel's ankle. I don't think there's any issues there from the Texas game. Scooby Williams at linebacker. Sounds like he's going to play. That's a big deal for your defense. But to kind of round out, A&M offense, Miami defense, it's going to be a battle. And, A&M all year has not been this, super efficient machine on offense. But what they do is hit explosive plays. And that's got to be the same recipe this weekend. Like you've got to, have a 30, 40 yarder here by KC, or a long catch and run by Ruben or Mario. Um, Long run like a LSU, the first drive of the game, a 60-yard, 50-yard run by Marcel for a touchdown. Um, we're not a, and we can grind it. Like at the end of the game, we can grind it out. If you get the lead in the fourth quarter, that was the recipe. The whole first part of the year was, you know, take a lead into the fourth, run the ball 80 times in the fourth quarter, and win the game. But to get that lead, to get ahead, to score points, like you got to be explosive. And so yeah, I mean, I I don't hate the matchup. I think our offensive line can match up. It can go man for man against Miami. We won't be overmatched. I don't think. It just comes down to execution, and like these receivers can get open. Uh, these these alignment can block. It's up to the OC. It's up to the quarterback to make the right calls and the right decisions. So we'll see how it goes. Other side, I'll say this right now, and I hate that we have to play him because I think that Malachi Tony is my favorite player in college football. That's not an Aggie, obviously. True freshman receiver for Miami, number 10, was a 3-star recruit, which is an abomination. If you put him as a 3-star, you should have your credentials revoked and find a different job because I'll, I'll tell you why I like him so much. There's guys you can tell that love playing football, and those are my kind of guys. Like, they're not in it for a check, they're not in it for this, that, or the other. Like, they just love it. Like, they'd play it for free, for, you know, like for a life. And Malachi Tony's that kind of guy. Like, he is just a football playing dude. Um, 0 drops on the year. He's not the biggest guy. They say his 40 is not the best, but you put on pads and like you're gonna struggle to keep up with him because he's just a damn good football player. Um, he's gonna be a handful, and I think that's the number one guy you circle and say, hey, you know, we're gonna try to play the run and stop that too. But when it comes to the passing game, like we've got number 10, we got him circled. So you got to have some kind of game plan for him. Um, and we got like our guys can cover, and there's been so few A&M teams you could say that about, but Willie, Des Ricks, Tyreek Chappelle, they can run and cover with anybody. Like this side of Ohio State, like that. Obviously, you may get to see it. If you go out and win this weekend. So, um, but Miami, like Tony is a great young player. Um, the other guys are solid. C.J. Daniels is a good player. Marion's a good player. They're not elite though. Like we've already seen a lot better than those guys. Um, but the pass rush has got to get home, and I think Cassius Howell against number 70 for them, Bell, the left tackle. Um, I'll take Cash in that matchup. Like I think like as big as Bell is, like he's gonna struggle with the speed and quickness and the array of pass rush moves that Hal presents. Um, I think it really comes down to me to just hold up at the point of attack. Like this offensive line is going to want to lean. Like Mario's whole thing is the run game, which is stunning. They're so bad at it, but um, they're going to come in like wanting to lean on the run, and then try to get the ball in Tony's hands and make an explosive play. But um, Albert Regis, DJ Hicks, Tyler Onyedem, um, Searcy, Howell, Hayes, like those guys have to hold the point of attack. You cannot get washed out. Um, and the second level has to fill the gaps. So Scooby, um, York, obviously Sanford, uh, Brooks, Ratcliffe, like just play sound football, and I think you win this game. Um, Not guaranteeing it. Like I think it's gonna be a close margin. Very competitive football game. But if if this team plays how we know they can play, I think they win, and I think you go and get to see them play in Dallas on New Year's Eve. So my guess on attendance, we're getting bots in the chat, which is weird. I don't know how they found us, but it's all good. I guess it'll boost the boost the ratings a little bit, boost the viewership. Oh man, someone said I had a bunch of stuff on Twitter. I didn't even see have Twitter pulled up and see what was going on there. We have 52. Anyway, my father-in-law asks, "What is your attendance guess?" I'm gonna guess. Let me check real quick. I think it's gonna nudge out the Auburn game by a hair. Attendance. Oof. 108,449. Oof, man. Can you beat that? Can you get 108 and a half? You know? I think 108 is a practical certainty. Like they're getting 108 in that thing, you know. From there, like how much standing room only can you sell? Like how many can you pack in there? The tickets, so like yeah, as a season ticket holder, I got my 2 tickets, but I was also on the list further down the food chain if just for general sell, like for like extra tickets into the game. My time slot was 3 o'clock, and it didn't even get to me. Like it sold out when the 2 o'clock slot opened. 2:01, it was sold out. It was gone. This game is going to be packed, so I'll be there. Me and Britt are going to be there, giving them hell, waving white towels. No cotton, if you saw that. Yeah, won't discuss that on here, but no cotton. It's been a fun year, and I have enjoyed watching this team play so much. I I hope we get the chance to see them do it again, but this game is massive for the program and for perception, and obviously like Elko is telling this team like let's go win a title. Like you can do that. That is on the table. It's in the realm of possibility. Will it be incredibly difficult? Yes, but that's still there. So like hell yeah to all of that. But for me personally, for my A&M heart and fandom, win this game in front of 108,000 people and millions on TV that are going to be tuning in. Put to rest any doubt about a schedule strength or whatever other kind of bullshit that people want to talk about. Just go win the game, and then we can all meet up in Arlington at Jerry's World against the Ohio State Buckeyes and have a grand old time. So if you're going to the game, give them hell. I'll see you there. If not, wear your lucky outfit, whatever it is. And if we're down at half, you better change something up. You better do something else because we got to have all the good juju this weekend. But sorry for the break once again. Win, lose, or draw, I will be back. Gosh, we got Christmas next week, so I'll be back sometime. I'll be back soon. I promise you. If we're playing New Year's Eve or not, I will be back to talk about A&M and Miami at Kyle Field for the college football playoff. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. It's been a great year. Let's keep it going. But beat the hell out of Miami.